Most people remember this arc as the moment Naruto learned the Rasengan, but if you look at the brief encounter between Naruto and Tsunade, it's actually where this series defines a new terrifying scale of power. When Tsunade splits the earth with a single finger, she isn't just winning a fight, she's defining the gap between Naruto's dreams and the fundamental weight of reality. Beneath the surface, Kishimoto is shifting the story away from the abstract idea of luck and into a cold, functional reality. We're exploring why the legendary sucker is desperately trying to weaponize her own failure. Something else we'll be analyzing is how Tsunade's decisions eventually lead us to seeing a completely different side of Jiraiya. Before we get into that though, episode 91 opens with the confrontation between Naruto and Tsunade. Although the circumstances are different, this is a direct parallel to what happened to Sasuke a few episodes ago. To put it simply, main character has her dream/purpose crushed by an older, renowned ninja. Proceeding with the episode, Naruto escapes the ravine with the help of Shizune and bets Tsunade that he can master the Rasengan in just 3 days. Tsunade responds with,
"I'll give you 1 week. If you can master that jutsu by then, I'll admit I'm wrong and that you're worthy of becoming Hokage. I'll even throw in my necklace."
Although her demeanor didn't change, Tsunade making that bet with Naruto reveals a lot about her character. It directly contradicts everything we know about her thus far. I say that because last episode she went on a tirade about how stupid one must be to desire becoming Hokage and even spoke ill of all of them. Now she's doing something rather sneaky. Tsunade is known as the legendary sucker. She loves gambling, but she always loses. Yet she bets against Naruto. She bets on his failure, so whether she's doing it consciously or subconsciously, she's rigging the game. If she wins the bet, she keeps the necklace, validates her cynicism, and confirms that dreams are for fools. If she loses the bet, she pays out the necklace, but she gains something far more valuable, proof that she is wrong, proof that dreams are not just for fools. Later that night, Shizune visits Naruto to explain the stakes. Jiraiya mentioned earlier that the necklace is worth 3 mountains of gold. But Shizune gives us this functional definition. It isn't just an asset, it's a filter. Although it was gifted to Tsunade, anyone who wore it after her died violently the next day. To Tsunade, this necklace is a physical manifestation of the Hokage curse. By offering it to Naruto as a prize, she isn't giving him a reward. She is putting him through a trial by fire. She is testing if Naruto is the one person who can survive the weight of that dream. Next up, we're shown flashbacks of Tsunade gifting her necklace to Nawaki, who immediately died the next day. She then argues before a council that medical ninjas should be added to each team to prevent unnecessary deaths. This is where she meets Dawn. The two fell head over heels for each other, prompting Tsunade to give Dawn the necklace since he too dreamed of becoming Hokage. Naturally, he died a horrible death as well. Dawn's death is the reason why Tsunade is currently homophobic and pessimistic. Dawn's death isn't the only reason though. Jiraiya and Orochimaru make appearances in the flashback as well. After Nawaki died, Jiraiya and Orochimaru gave Tsunade their condolences.
No, it's best if you don't look, Tsunade.
What difference can it make? The condition the body's in. She won't even be able to recognize her little brother.
Silence, Orochimaru!
At least Jiraiya did, in a way. Orochimaru gets nothing out of patronizing Tsunade, but he does it anyway, just simply for the love of the game. Considering those two were Tsunade's support system at the time, it's no wonder why she turned away from the village. I mean, just listen to this.
Shinobi are just left on the battlefield to die. There are no doctors or healers to help them. It's too bad the boy was so reckless, as if he thought he were invulnerable. And the day after receiving such a lovely gift, too.
That is nasty work to say the least. Other than Orochimaru's douchebaggery, there is something else worth noting in that scene. Orochimaru has the necklace, which leads me to believe he may have been the one to discover Nawaki's body and bring it back. It'd be kinda strange if Orochimaru heard about Nawaki dying, arrived before Tsunade and Jiraiya, walked into the room and said, "Give me the necklace." I doubt the doctors would have said no, given it's Orochimaru making that demand. However, I don't think that's what happened, since Orochimaru also shares details he would have only known if he had seen Nawaki prior to his death. He knew Nawaki had just received the necklace the day before, and he gave details about Nawaki dying. Looking back on the high-profile meeting Konoha held after Nawaki's death makes it even more damning for Orochimaru and Jiraiya. I'll play Tsunade's proposal.
If we make one member of each squad a trained medical specialist, it will not only increase their survival rate, but will improve the chances of their mission being a success. I say we need to establish a teaching facility to train selected ninja in the healing arts, and we need to do it now.
Hiruzen pretty much says, "Damn lady, that's tough. We're not gonna do that though." That pisses Tsunade off, which causes her to begin crashing out, but she's quickly interrupted by Dawn, who supports her proposal. This is her and Dawn's first meeting. Before continuing, let's pause right here. I mentioned earlier how Jiraiya and Orochimaru weren't ever truly her friends. While Jiraiya was certainly more compassionate, this scene solidifies the notion that despite spending their whole lives together, from maybe 5 years old to the current time, neither Jiraiya nor Orochimaru supported Tsunade's proposal. Think about how wild that is. What should be a close friend, a comrade that you've known your entire life, just lost her younger brother in a war. Now she's proposing adding medical ninja to every squad to increase survival rates and mission success rates, and both Jiraiya and Orochimaru remain silent. To me, it's far beyond wild, quite frankly. Once again, it's no wonder why after Dawn dies, Tsunade lost her way. Before moving on with the episode, I discovered something rather interesting. What if Tsunade's necklace isn't cursed at all? I mean, it did belong to the first Hokage who successively gifted it to Tsunade and she didn't die. But if it wasn't the necklace, then what made Dawn and Nawaki die? Well, take a look at this. And this. She kisses them both on the forehead, and then what happens? They die. So the necklace doesn't bear the curse, Tsunade does. She quite literally has the kiss of death. Alright, with that fun little theory aside, let's get back into it. Jiraiya meets up with Tsunade for drinks and confronts her about challenging Naruto and her future plans with Orochimaru. Tsunade is surprised Jiraiya knows she plans on meeting him, but she doesn't get a chance to respond because Jiraiya begins to monologue. He warns her against accepting whatever deal Orochimaru made her, then says,
Remember the Hokage that have come before, and all they've accomplished for the Leaf Village. It's only thanks to them that the village has survived, even prospered through troubled times. This was their dream, and they were all willing to gamble everything to achieve it. Even their lives.
This is where we see the complete shift in Jiraiya's character that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Interestingly enough, the anime and manga both handle this scene differently, so I'm going to dissect both and then you can let me know which one you prefer down in the comments. Let's proceed with the anime. The first part is straightforward. Betray that dream and you make all of their sacrifices meaningless. Okay, got it. But this next part allows for some interpretation. Jiraiya chuckles and asks, why am I saying this? Could you do such a thing? Is it a rhetorical question or is he asking Tsunade? I would break those sentences up into 1. Why am I saying this? 2. Could you do? And 3. Such a thing. Let's dive into part 1. Why? This leads into my initial question on whether or not he was being rhetorical, given that Tsunade lowers her head when Jiraiya says, betray that dream, and you make all of their sacrifices meaningless. And Jiraiya lets out a chuckle before asking why. I'm going to go with he was being rhetorical. So by asking why am I saying this, he's really saying my words are superfluous. You already know all of this. Which leads into part 2. Could you do? Jiraiya isn't asking Tsunade if it's possible she could betray the village. That's dealing in ones and zeros. He's asking about the plausibility in her doing it, which is 0 to 100%. So his word choice is a bit off, because he should have said would. Finally, part 3, such a thing. The reason why I broke this up from part 2 is because Jiraiya knows more than what he's letting on. He's definitely put 2 and 2 together, coming to the conclusion that if Orochimaru sought out Tsunade, it was for one thing and one thing only, her healing prowess. I guess you could say game recognized game, because that's exactly why he's here too. Although Jiraiya was soft-spoken, those 3 parts combined is why Tsunade glances over at him with a frown on her face. Before Jiraiya shows any aggression, she already knows what's coming. With the anime's part done, let's dive into the manga. Manga Jiraiya is much more straightforward. Jiraiya outright says, hey, I know you know our predecessor's beliefs, so if you F around, you will subsequently find out. Let me know down in the comments if you prefer Anime Jiraiya's passive threat that says, "Hey, you're only not dead because I believe in you," or the manga's direct threat that says, "I don't really know you like that, so if you choose wrong, I will find you and I will kill you." After that, Jiraiya and Tsunade talk a bit more, which brings out the vulnerability in Tsunade via her admitting that meeting Naruto has pulled on her heartstrings since he's essentially now Waki in a different body. Moving on to episode 92, not too much happens that warrants analysis or that plays into Tsunade's mental tug of war. Tsunade watches Naruto train, she gambles, Orochimaru tells Kabuto they'll use force if necessary and that he will be the one to fight Tsunade. We cut to Jiraiya, who's worried about Tsunade, so he invites her out to drink again. This is where the tensions rise. Tsunade drugs the alcohol, then pours Jiraiya a cup. If she wanted to join Orochimaru, she could run. If she wanted to fight him, she needs Jiraiya. By drugging the only person who can help her, she is removing her safety net. She creates a vacuum where she must face the threat of Orochimaru alone. She needs to know if she has the will to kill the past, and she can't find that out if Jiraiya is there to hold her hand or cut her throat. Tsunade leaves not long after, and she eventually meets up with Suzune to check on Naruto, who passed out during training. This is where another interesting exchange happens. Suzune begs Tsunade not to meet up with Orochimaru and tells Tsunade that she will do everything in her power to stop her. Tsunade doesn't like that at all, so she decides to forward a submission to the top 10 aura moments in the arc.
Shizune, have you forgotten who you're talking to?
Moving on, we see Orochimaru and Kabuto heading towards the ruins. During their travel, Orochimaru sends Kabuto off to kill Shizune since he knows she could be trouble. To Kabuto's surprise, he arrives to see Jiraiya and Naruto, so he retreats. That brings us to the meeting at the ruins. Tsunade approaches Orochimaru to heal him, but is stopped by Kabuto. This moment is actually quite revealing. Despite Orochimaru's escapade to master all the jutsu and his lack of trust towards essentially everyone, Orochimaru's oversight is quite damning. The only two ways that's possible is if Orochimaru doesn't know medical ninjutsu or he was simply blinded by arrogance. I'll show you the healing interaction so you can see what I mean.
What is the meaning of this? Am I to understand you've really come here to betray me? Tsunade?
What I love by this is Orochimaru knew that the only reason why Kabuto would do that is if Tsunade was trying to pull a fast one on him. The scene plays it off quite well though, since we don't actually know whose side Kabuto is on. He could be betraying Orochimaru or he could be protecting him, so the slow build up to the reveal works so well. If you enjoyed this episode, rescind on that like button and Chidori the subscribe button if you haven't already. I know I ended up taking another long break, but just like Sasuke,
I am an Avenger!
So I will always return. I look forward to talking to you all in the next video. Deuces.